especially these Gen Z kids will gonna give an example. So like Mark Zuckerberg is a dropped out, Bill Gates is a dropped out. So they are dropped out of MITs. Okay, like you are in like in Ella some other college. So does it make any sense like to drop out engineering and start their own companies when you are in tier 3 or tier 4 colleges?
In so many colleges where I go, I ask them, do you know this table? Two ones are two, two twos are four, two threes are six. When you say this, there is a word that comes in between called za. And I ask them, what is the za?
Hi friends, welcome back to Sri Siddhartha School of Engineering podcast. Today we have one more guest with us, Lokesh Mathur sir. He is an alumni of IIM as well as he is a person who has worked in abroad for many years and he wanted to serve the nation. So he came back to India and he started his own company called Z Skill Up. So you might have heard about stand-up comedians, but so here is the person who is a stand-up educator. Now we're gonna come to know what is mean by stand-up educator in this podcast. We're gonna have a very interesting podcast. So welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So like my first question for you is you are in a peak of your career. So you were having a very good job, a very settled job, a corporate job because you are an alumni of IIM. So why you left that lucrative job and shifted to academics as a trainer or a teacher? What motivates you?
So there's a story behind it. And when I say there is a story behind it, there are multiple reasons behind it. So when people say that the job is lucrative, that the packages were good enough, and I'm talking about 2011, the job was good. Every middle class candidate in our country was aspiring to get into top IT company, get to an on-site visit, which is mostly US or the Australias or the Canadas of the world. And that was a dream come true for any middle class person. So it was for me as well. But deep inside, somewhere it was not exciting enough for me when I was going to the offices, when I was writing my piece of code and figuring out that this is what am I supposed to do. Mind you, I do not come from computer science background. I'm an electronics instrumentation and control engineer. By the grace of God, I got into the IT companies, served there well as well. But deep inside, like I said, my whole intent was that no, I wish to do something on my own. And that too in my own country, wherein if I can give something back to the society, it will be much better and a more satisfying future and career for me. So this was one reason, of course. And I would not say this is the only reason. The other reasons were, and which I keep saying to many students, my parents were based out of Jaipur, Rajasthan, which is where I come from. And both of them were government employees. I asked them once that, are you okay shifting with me to, let's say, US? And my father was very reluctant. He said, no, not at all. We are going to continue with our lives here only in our own city, our own state, our own country, even after they get retired. So one thought that was very clear in my mind is that when I was a kid, they were there to help us out. And I was very clear that after their 60s, they would need us the way we wanted them when we were kids. So when they would need us, I should be there with them. That was another reason which brought me back to our own country. And honestly speaking, I was not very clear that what would I be doing. I was just one thought was in my mind that let me go back to my own country, let me come back and I'll figure out what to do. How do I give something back to the society? Or even if not, I wanted to do something on my own. So I just came back and then the stages started. How I got into the role of a trainer and a teacher was the story afterwards. But that was the initial thought because of which I just came back.
You came from Jaipur. Kota is nearby to Jaipur. Like, how did you handle this pressure of PU plus 2 because CET exams are going on? Are you a topper in your batch or something like that?
No, that's another.
So, how much it has been influenced? The Kota thing means Kota factory has influenced in your life.
All right. So again, I believe in a lot of storytelling activities, and which is where I'm going to tell you the exact reality how it happened. And many of my students do not know this reality that I had science, maths, and biology in my 11th and 12th standard because my father wanted me to be a doctor, and I never wanted to be a doctor. I studied in Kota for one complete year preparing for pre-medical examinations. Those days it was pre-medical, it was not neat as in today. But I couldn't clear the exam. um, the pressure was not that much, I would say, in those days as much as it is today. But one thing was very clear that I was not made for a pre-medical or a medical studies or a medical course. So I came back again to my hometown. The thought was that I am going to do management course, an MBA from a premium B school. That was right from my childhood, very clear in my head. If someone would ask me what are you going to do, I had only two answers right from my very young pre-primary school days. One, I would become a cricketer, and two, I would love to get into premium B school, study masters of business administration, and run some business of my own. So that was one way. And the previous question that you asked, that was I a topper? I was never a topper, honestly speaking. I don't remember when was the last time I topped a class. Could be in sixth standard of my school days. But after that, I was a pretty average student till the time I came to third year of my engineering. Now, that also happened because one fine day when I was doing my engineering after my second year, I realized that if I am not going to do well in engineering, my dream of getting into a premium B school is also going to be impacted. At the time of interview, when they're going to talk about my graduation percentages and all of those things, and if they find that my graduation is not so up to date, I might impact my chances of getting into a premium B school. So, starting from third year, I started paying a little more attention towards studies, started going regularly to the colleges, and probably I was the second or the third topper in my entire branch. Um, and that made my engineering at least complete in a decent way. So I think I was with 7.8 as a CGPA. I got some good offer letters from IT service companies, but no, I was never a topper in those lines. Nothing as close as today's students are, who get 9.9, 9.8, 9.7, and still they are disheartened. They are under the pressure of the society, the faculties, the parents, that why have you not got 100? Recently, the JEE exam result is out, and I could see 26 of the students have got 100 out of 100. I don't know whether the level of the exam has gone down or maybe the level of preparation has gone a lot up. But no, I was nowhere close to that kind of percentage. And I don't think, I mean, that's my personal thought, that I don't think that a person has to be a top grader only to succeed in life. There are so many examples. I know of so many people in my educational career that those who were university toppers, and they literally struggled to get their first job. Vis a vis, there were few people who were probably the backbenchers. They were, you know, doing everything other than attending a class. And today, when I look into their LinkedIn and the social handles, I find them in every look and corner of the country doing extremely great. So,
why I'm sorry to
yeah.
interrupt here. Like most of the students like take this from most of the seniors and like this. So academics is not so important. Like and they will gonna, especially these Gen Z kids will gonna give an example. So like Mark Zuckerberg is a dropped out, Bill Gates is a dropped out. So they are dropped out of MITs. Okay, like you are in tier 3 or tier 4 colleges,
Correct.
like in Ella some other college, and like if you dropped out of engineering, so what will you gonna achieve in your life? So does it make any sense like to drop out engineering and start their own companies when you are in tier 3 or tier 4 colleges?
No, first of all, I understand this thought process has gone much deeper into the society. That being a dropout is a flamboyant activity,
Yeah.
is a very lucrative activity. No, sorry, do not take things wrong. If you're talking about a Mark Zuckerberg, if you're talking about a Bill Gates, these are one of the million examples in the country or in the world, entire space. So do not treat them as examples. Of course, if you want to take them as examples, talk about what they've done when they got into the professional world. but not taking this as an example that if you drop out from your regular academic life cycle, you're going to be any different. No. There's a lot of debate which is going on in the world, skill versus regular academic stuff. Uh, I, I, I mean, I personally feel that it's not about this or that; it's a culmination of both. And at the same time, if someone says that by not achieving something in academics, you have higher chances of becoming great, absolutely false. The the inverse may or may not be true, that you become a achiever in your professional life. Were you a topper? May or may not be true. But if you are not a topper and you still feel that you're going to be somewhat great in the market, no, that there is no direct correlation between these two things. If you're a dropper, if you are a topper, does not matter. What you do once you enter into the professional world, how skillfully you navigate with those hardships, that will actually give you the achievements or the career ahead. Not with the thought of being a dropout. It's a thing that you cherish about. It's a thing that you go around in the market and say that, you know what, I am also a dropper like a Mark Zuckerberg. Things will not work in that direction at all.
Sir, you call yourself as a stand-up educator. Why we are calling so? The reason is we heard about stand-up comedian. What is the difference between a stand-up educator and a traditional way of teaching? Means a teacher or a professor or something like that. What do you mean by stand-up educator?
Right. So, not that I am the first one to do stand-up educator activities. There are many players in the market who may have started a little late, but they are doing exceedingly well. But why this term came to my mind is that I'm a big fan of many stand-up comedians. I do purchase tickets and go and watch their live shows. Many of our generation, and in fact the Gen Zs and Gen Alphas, they are scrolling the reels upside down or downside up and watching these stand-up comedians. I somewhere feel that there has to be an era in our country wherein people should purchase the tickets and go and watch the teachers also teaching something which they do not know. They should also cherish those moments. And it's not that we do not have good or great teachers. We, as a country, have been, always blessed to have trainers and teachers right from the Vedic days. The only irony is the teachers have not got the kind of rewards as the country like us should have given them back. Of course, there are few names that have come in the market in the recent past, and glad that they have joined that kind of thing, and they have made this profession also a little
Very
flamboyant. So when the only thought that comes to my mind is that while people can go enjoy for a couple of hours in a stand-up comedian, in a stand-up music concert, or a music concert in general, why don't we bring them to a situation that if I, as a student, want to learn something from, let's say, Rajesh sir, and I get to know that Rajesh sir is in a city or in a town wherein I am. Why don't I pay some penny, go to the show, watch Rajesh sir teach me 10 different things which I was not aware of? So that thought came to my mind, and I thought that let me coin this term in such a way that, stand-up educator. And why stand-up? Of course, I don't think there is a time now when teachers are sitting on their chairs and teaching anyone. People have to be there on their toes, because we are not only competing with our counterparts in the college, we are also competing with the people who are there on the digital space. There are so many videos, there is so much of content available in the digital world, wherein the students have always got the luxury of comparing you with the others. So you have to be brilliant enough to keep them awake, keep them engaged, keep them listen to what you're saying. And that is where this concept of stand-up educator came to my mind. And I'm still trying my best to come to a era, to come to a situation wherein if I am going to a city, let's say Pune, and the Pune city gets to know that, okay, there is a show from Lokesh Mathur, and he's going to cover, let's say, 15 to 20 tricks on aptitude, which can be directly impacting the placement papers that they're going to sit for. and they're going to spend some money and 2-3 hours of their time, they can probably crack 15 questions in any exam that they're going to fight for. That is where this thought came from.
It's kind of ticket shows, right?
It is,
End of
yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have plethora of material in internet, but which one do you prefer, like brick and mortar classes or online virtual method?
Um, Again, there are pros and cons. See, you might feel that I'm being little diplomatic when I'm saying this is white and this is black. No, I don't wish to do that, because there are advantages of attending an offline session. There are disadvantages of not attending offline session, and likewise there are advantages and disadvantages of attending an online session as well, and which everyone knows. If I am standing in front of, let's say, 1,000 student auditorium, and if I'm teaching them something, all my gestures, all my you know all my moves and all my expressions are going to be visible to the gentleman sitting next to me or in front of me. The engagement level is going to be deeply high, because even a student who does this, I'll be able to figure out, oh, there is something going wrong with this gentleman. While the same thing cannot be done in the online space, it's more of a static thing. I am going to focus more on what I'm teaching. Uh, Very occasionally, I might look into the chat box. Very occasionally, I might look into the hands raised by them. And when I do so, and if I'm catering to a person's question, then rest of the audience who are there in the online capacity might feel a little distracted. And of course, the attention span is a bigger of a challenge in today's world, and it's going to go down from here on. Now, that is where I always keep saying that.
Oh, why I ask this question is like if you go to US, so they have 6G technology and all,
Yes.
but still they run like brick and mortar classes. There are so many good universities. Students do attend like offline classes. They could have done like online. It's not a big deal for them. So when countries like US they are following brick and mortar, why we are still going for online classes in country like India? We are not so technologically upgraded like other countries, but still, so we wanted to enter into virtual market.
So, this is also a matter of how geopolitically or how geographically or how in terms of demography we are placed as a country. Of course, US has no reason why they should move to a digital world, while the population, the reach to the audience is fairly easier in those countries as compared to what an Indian market is. But at the same time, you mentioned a very right word here, that in our country, while we are getting into the digital space of the things, there are almost 60-50% of the population which has no clue of what is happening in the digital space. They do not have the logistics to go around with. But because our population, our reach, a word is very common in the edtech space called as scalability. So to reach to the corner of the society, to get more and more audience and consumers and customers base going up, we have started going penetrating into the digital space. If you ask me on a personal front, um, other than making a scalable impact of doing things digitally, I personally do not see any other advantage of doing things in a digital world versus a brick and mortar system. Of course, this can also be in a way that, let's say, if Lokesh Mathur is taking a session, I could be placed in a city called as Pune or in Bangalore, and I cannot go to Indore or a Bhopal or a Jaipur or a Ahmedabad at the same time. That reach becomes easier when we do things digitally, but otherwise the impact of teaching when it comes to a brick and mortar is way higher than what it is on the digital front. There's no doubt about it. And again, I'm not condemning, I'm not saying that digital education should not be done, because there are advantages of it as well. Be it a Khan sir, be it Alak Pandey of the world, be it Byju's for that matter, who were doing it, and they were able to reach to those corners wherein the student could not come to them. So that is an advantage which we all have been witnessing. But at the same time, if there has to be a one single advantage and disadvantage when it comes to both of these pedagogies, the impact is certainly higher on the brick and mortar system. And hence, just one last point on this is, during the COVID and some months and some years post COVID, the digital boom was on the higher side when it was being absorbed by the audience across the world. But slowly and gradually, even the colleges, universities, students, even the parents have started feeling no. There has to be an interaction between the deliverer and at the same time the consumer of the education ecosystem. Of course, if there is logistic challenge, we have to be placed at remote location.
You mentioned about like so many tech companies. You also have one, so this skills up. Now, how this skill up has been different from other tech?
Right. So I keep saying this to my colleagues, my team members as well, and of course to colleges wherein I have been interacting at the same time. See, I am here to make business. There is no doubt about it. But at the same time, the core of it still lies with a word called as education. I did a similar activity when I returned back from US. I started my own company and I ran that for almost 7 years in the B2B market. My whole philosophy is let me partner with 20 colleges, deliver the best results rather than partnering with 2000 colleges and probably things going out of my control. So one is that wherein process is more important than anything else. We are trying to ensure that candidate A from B college vis-a-vis candidate X from a Z college gets a similar kind of experience, which has to be outcome driven. We are not here to only make profit margins. We are not only here to ensure that the volume is high on our platforms and things like that. The qualitative aspect, not only that I'm saying this because I'm interacting with you and this podcast is going to be viewed by thousands and lakhs of candidates. No, this is the theme within my team as well, that do not let the quality come down in whichever way. Even if you're going to do less number of colleges or partner with less number of colleges, deal with less number of students, this quality aspect should not be undermined in whichever way. Every student who is part of the skill up framework should feel that they got more than what they should have. That's the whole philosophy with which we are running. And it's not dependent on whether it is going to be only offline, only online, hybrid, however it is going to be. In each of the framework, the quality has to be the center of focus for everyone who is working under the Z skill up territory.
If it is a tech company, so you used to teach a lot of subjects. Which is your favorite?
If you ask me, I have always made my path by teaching aptitude. Aptitude is something I've authored few books on aptitude. I have been fortunate enough to teach a subject which honestly is not should not be looked from a lens that it is an important subject for clearing placement exams. My mother, who was doing day to day calculation to pay a hawker, was doing aptitude calculations, and there were no calculator around. If a hawker would come and say that, you know what, 5 rupees for a newspaper, 30 days, he was instantly paying 150 rupees without doing any calculation around. So aptitude is not something which has to be looked from a lens that placement clear कर लेते हैं या government exam clear कर लेते हैं. Unfortunately, that is the ideology with which students are learning nowadays. Okay, we have to study this paper or we have to study this subject because we have to clear the exam. Beyond that, the day the exam gets over and they are sure that they'll be able to clear the exam, they shut the book and never then open it again. But in case of aptitude, it is a more wider of a concept, which is what is my favorite.
What is the difference between mathematics and aptitude? There should be a thin line of difference between mathematics and aptitude, right? Like, what is the difference?
I will answer this with one simple example. In our country, especially, people mingle two words: English and communication. English is a language, probably a subject in our school books, but actually it's a language. Whereas in our academic calendars, it is treated as a subject. That is the exact difference between aptitude and mathematics. Mathematics is more dominantly a subject, but aptitude has nothing to do with defining it under a subject frame of things. And hence I was saying that aptitude is not something which has to be taught only to clear a placement paper, not only to clear a government examination. Aptitude could be, let's say, if I know that I have to look into the camera and not every time look at you, this is also a bit of rational thinking that I'm keeping in my mind. And that also is part of aptitude. So every small thing that we do in our day-to-day world, for example, if I throw a ball to you, the calculation that is happening in your head to catch the ball, when should your hand come up? That's aptitude. Maybe we are not doing time is equal to, speed is equal to distance upon time. But so speed is equal to distance upon time is mathematical formula. But what is happening in our head is just aptitude. There are so many people who are not able to do some basic fundamental calculation. I'll give you a very small example. In so many colleges where I go, I ask them, do you know this table? When we recite a table, 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, 2 threes are 6. This is the table in English. But when you say this, there is a word that comes in between called za. 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, 2 threes are 6. When I ask this question, not only to students, but also to the teachers there, and I ask them, what is the za? It's not an English word. What is that za? And many of the people do not know the answer. So then I tell them that, okay, 2 ones are 2. So it's an apostrophe S and R, which we have started pronouncing as za. So we say 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, 2. Actual pronunciation is 2 ones are 2, 2 twos are 4, 2 threes are 6. But unfortunately, the education system that we have come across, everyone was focusing, including our parents, they were focusing only on 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 16. ठीक आ रहा है कि नहीं आ रहा है? Not the earlier phrase, which was supposed to be that. In fact, to tell you one more thing, because it's my favorite subject, we use tables for multiplication. But in tables also, or in multiplication also, there is no concept called as multiplication. When we say 2 ones are 2, it's addition. There are 2 ones which are adding to make 2. When we say 16 ones are 16, there are 16 ones which are adding to make 16. So this is the difference between mathematics versus an aptitude. While we all have studied mathematics as a subject, everyone studies mathematics as a subject. But if a student does not know the nuances of this, maybe their mathematics score is 100 on 100. But if they do not know such silly things, such small things, 2 things will happen. Neither they will have the interest towards such subjects that, oh yeah, this is interesting. They're only solving. And second thing is, of course, they will only treat it as a subject. Never ever it will go into a life concept for them, which it should be. So this is what I am trying to present when I am taking my sessions and calling it as a stand-up educator's concept, where we are not only talking about that this is the formula of compound interest, solve it and get the answer. No. Why is this formula? Where has it come from? So that if you study it today and tomorrow when you are teaching it to your kids, you should not say that, okay, the formula of compound interest is this. You should say that where it has come from, why it is so what it is, so that it remains there in their memory. That's where the difference is for mathematics and the word aptitude.
When it comes to aptitude, aptitude is thinking ability of a person. It differs from individual to individual.
Correct.
Whatever the questions you know, that answer is not known to me.
Correct.
Whatever the questions I know, that answer is not known to you. It differs from individual to individual. What is more important to learn aptitude? And how we can improve our aptitude?
Okay, I'll take one more example. Let's say there's a guy who has got selected into IPS. Now, before getting selected into IPS or before getting the results, he was good at general science, mathematics, clearing the prelims, clearing the mains exam and everything. But he was not good at shooting. He was not good at fighting. He was not good at many other physical fights and the other exercises that are being trained or that he's going to be trained upon when he gets into it. How does he get trained into all of these things? By practicing it day in, day out, by going through all of those drills every time that they get into training. Same way, if my aptitude and your aptitude, let's say, is not up to the mark, I'm not saying whose is better, but if it is not up to the mark to clear a certain examination, The only way to get or reach to a level is by practicing. If someone says that my aptitude is better than the other person's is, they're actually talking about precision and accuracy, or maybe accuracy and speed. That how quickly can I get the correct answer? That's what aptitude is. If I only talk about clearing the placement exams and the examinations about. So, if I as a student can solve 20 questions in 20 minutes versus you as a student can solve 20 questions in 10 minutes, we will say your aptitude is better than mine. Why? Because you got the same marks in less time duration. And why are you able to solve more questions in less time? Because you may have practiced more. That's the whole philosophy. When I was a student in my third and fourth standard, I still remember my maths teacher's name and the way he used to teach us mathematics. He was a concept driven person. He was teaching us mathematics in a way that I actually fell love with mathematics. If we are able to do that, if we are able to, that is where I keep saying to the student that in every competitive exam, you're getting, let's say, 33 seconds to solve an aptitude question. Now, if today, while you are practicing it, you're able to solve it in 3 minutes, tomorrow, when you solve the same question, you can solve it in 1 minute. And day after tomorrow, if you solve the same question, you can do it in 30 seconds also. That's the only thing which is required. Surprisingly, if I get to see some question which I've never seen before in my life, I would say, oh, this is difficult. When I do it for the first time and when going to do it for the second time, I will never say it is difficult. I would say it's time consuming. That's it.
I always used to hear from these students. Sir, I used to practice lot of aptitude question. I used to practice 100 questions. But when I go to exam, it will be 101. The reason is there are a lot of topics in aptitude. Like if you take like time and work, time, speed and distance, probability, permutation combination, simple interest, compound interest, boards and streams, pipes and systems. Like this, there are a lot of concept. Uh, how we supposed to prepare for each and every company? Because each company paper is different from the other company paper.
So, in this also, there are few sets of topics which are common across all. You write a banking exam, you write a GATE exam, you write a GRE exam, you write a Capgemini exam, you write a Infosys exam. Some of the topics are going to be the same. There could be a difficulty level difference, wherein a CAT exam would be difficult than a IAS exam, an IAS exam could be difficult than probably a banking exam, so on and so forth. And then there are some topics which are examination driven. For example, a product company in our country, if it is a Microsoft, a Flipkart, or a Uber, or a Ola, they are focusing more on topics which are concept driven. Let's say a sitting arrangement question is more prominent in product companies vis-a-vis a service based company. A service company might ask you more questions on percentages and profit and loss, whereas a product company would focus more on a Venn diagram. So a little bit of strategy driven practice and approach will solve everything. Ultimately, the list that you mentioned, it comprises of 28 to 30 topics, nothing beyond that. And all these topics have been studied by us till 10th standard. It is a revision of those topics. You will be able to solve the question, but can you solve that question in quick time? That's where we have to reach. It's not, we are not going to, I keep saying this to students, आपको steps के marks नहीं मिलने वाले अब. आप एक भी step मत लिखिए, answer correct टिक कीजिए, you will get full out of full. Versus if you solve the question in 2 pages and get a correct answer, you will also get the same mark as any other person who has not even used a rough sheet. So it's about speed and accuracy both. How do we practice and how do we reach to that level? Simple. You just make it a pledge that every day, if I'm going to do, let's say, 20 questions each day, and do it for 100 days, you're going to do 2000 questions. That's it. All the placement papers that you're practicing for, you cannot get anything beyond this. Why did 26 students in our country achieve 100 out of 100 in a JEE exam? Because they were practicing the similar or the same kind of question that JEE has been asking for the last 5 years. And if you are able to do that day in, day out, day in, day out, day in, day out, there is very little that is left out of. First of all, in these examinations, there's nothing which is called as out of syllabus. No, there's nothing which is called as out of syllabus. Could be out of syllabus for you because you have not practiced it. But if you practice 20 questions, trust me guys, practice 20 questions a day. That's it. And do not practice a similar question the next day. If you're practicing 20 questions of percentages today, take another set of 20 questions tomorrow. And then another 20 questions day after tomorrow. Trust me, percentages does not have 60 variety of questions. You will be able to solve all the variety of percentages questions in 2 days only. And then whenever you go for an examination, you will be 100% very clear in your mind that nothing that can be asked from percentages that is not known to you. There is a possibility that you know the answer, but your speed is slow. For that, you may need to practice another 20, another 20, another 20. Maybe 5 days you practice percentages based questions. Nothing beyond that. You will feel like there's no topic as easier as any topic which you are afraid of. I'll give you an example, just one thing. So, in my entire, till my graduation life, I never ever studied a topic called as permutations and combinations. I was always afraid of it. I was always having a fear in my mind that I will not be able to solve this question. Now, what happened? I was supposed to write my CAT exam, which is, like we all know, it's one of the toughest in our country. And you can't leave a topic when you are preparing for an exam like this, because a question can bring your rank 1,000 down. So I prepared. One fine day I thought that, okay, either it is going to be permutation combination or it is going to be Lokesh Mathur. I sat with permutation combination, and today it is one of my favorite topic. I do not know the topic level marking, but I got all questions correct in my CAT examination. And till date, I feel that this is one of my strongest topic in aptitude. That's it. It's a fight between you and the topic. Whosoever wins will take the trophy. Just practice it as much as you can.
No, like there are plenty of books for aptitude in the market. Abhijit Gua, M. Tera, or like Pearson,
R.S. Agarwal.
R.S. Agarwal. So there are plenty of Sarvesh K. Verma, Rajesh Verma. There's so many books in the market. For a normal kid who is in engineering, you don't know much about mathematics, because like most of the students use it to flunk in mathematics, M1, M2, M3, M4. So for them, how to start this aptitude practice? From where they're supposed to start this? Whether it's from NCRT or from regular books?
I am not going to discriminate between from where you should start. Rather, I will take one step behind. I'll go a little back. First of all, think for which exam are you preparing? Because that is more important. If you are preparing for a 12th exam versus you are preparing for a banking exam versus you are preparing for a administrative services examination, your strategy, your list of topics is going to be very different. So first thing is, what are you preparing for? Second thing, because you need to know who is your opponent. If you are in a battlefield, before you start shooting arrows, you should be knowing who is your counterpart there. The second thing is, once you get to know that these are the topics which are important for this particular examination, you start rating yourself in those topics. Like I said, permutation combination. I was poor. Calendar. I'm excellent. Now, not today. Now I can probably mark myself higher in all the topics, but I'm talking from your angle. So you start grading yourself on those 15, 16, 17 topics which are important for that aptitude. And please understand, this method is applicable not only for aptitude, for technical also, for English also, for all the subjects that are going to be part of the examination. You rate yourself in those subjects or topics. Now, where you are very weak, pick that first. Do not leave the weaker section for the last. There's a saying in English that when do you eat the frog? So you should do the hardest thing up front, so that at the back of your mind you are fairly confident that now I'm left with the easier battle to win. So pick the hardest topic first, and trust me, take it as a battle between you and that topic. What is going to be the source for that topic? Content in today's world is not the challenge. Data availability, I don't think is the easiest thing, much easier than ever in today's world. You open up a YouTube channel, you type any name, you type any topic, and you'll get thousands of videos. Now, it is up to you. If you like Lokesh Mathur, you watch Lokesh Mathur ka video. If you like, let's say, a Khan sir, you watch Khan sir ka video. If you like XYZ, you keep watching that person's video. It's not about who taught you. No one is going to ask you. If you clear the examination tomorrow, no one will come and ask you, where did you studied this from? Probably you can go and say that, I give my credit to this gentleman, but no one will come and ask you. Uh, so you pick up whichever digital content that you wish to. You pick up whichever book that Sir just mentioned. It could be the Arun Sharmas, it could be the R.S. Agarwals, it could be the Tata McGraw Hill ka koi bhi book. Pick any book for that matter. Because, see, for you to read from a certain book, for you to consume a digital content, it is your grasping power and frequency match with the teacher. How many times it happens that I may not like a certain teacher, but the friend may like the teacher because it's a frequency match. I may feel that the teacher is excellent. The other person may feel, no, the teacher is not very good. It's a frequency match kind of thing. So trust me, I'm not going to say that you only watch Lokesh Mathur ka video. Though if you want, you can do that as well. But whatever content you're consuming, you should have a pen and paper in hand. It's not like watching a reel that you're watching. One big thing I recently posted on my social handle, that when we see a teacher solving a question on board, we feel that, Are samajh aa gaya. We feel that, oh, I can solve this. When we go to the examination, we are not able to solve it because our hand was not solving it. So till the time the question is being solved by you without looking at a reference, do not assume that you will be able to solve it in examination. Never ever. हमारे पेरेंट्स कहा करते थे कि बोल बोल के याद करो, लिख के याद करो. They had a scientific reason to it. Why they used to say that keep speaking those lines if you want to learn it faster. Keep writing it. Till date, I keep telling this to my daughter that write and learn, write and learn. Why? Because when you write and learn, your hand is working, your brain is working, your eyes are working, probably your ears are working. So many senses are involved. When you only watch and learn, only brain is working, nothing else is working. Probably the eyes are also not working because you are having drowsy eyes in a sense. So, sorry for the long explanation, but the source of the content becomes little less relevant as compared to intent, your intent towards or your strategy towards consuming that content could be.
If you want to recommend three books for engineering students, which are those books? Means general books. So they're supposed to read when they are in engineering life.
I have read multiple books. I'm not sure whether it will be good for a student who is pursuing engineering, but it could be in general good for people around. And these are my personal favorites. Again, I'm not imposing it to the students. I personally liked Vivekanand. If you read him right from the first page till the last page, you will get to see that there's a philosophy which is working for a person who probably lived the least in this on this planet, but had the largest of impact when it comes to giving to the society as an individual. So, see, once again, I mean, since I'm a teacher, I might sound like I am elaborating my answers a little more, uh, but trust me on this that it's not only about reading the subjects that are going to give you good marks in examination. Your life skills are going to take you the farthest. uh, if your life skills, if your moral values, if your ethics, if you're true to the work that you're doing. If suppose I'm currently shooting this podcast with Sir, and if in my back in my head, if I'm thinking that, oh, where am I going to go from here? What am I going to do tomorrow? Then I'm not loyal to the work that I'm doing currently. Once I'm out of this podcast, maybe I'll be doing something else. So that's one thing that I've learned from this book on Swami Vivekanand. The other book which has been my favorite in the very recent past is The Diary of a CEO. I mean, again, it is not only about a CEO, it's about any gentleman. And while CEO looks like a professional designation, it is not. Your mother is a CEO of your house, or your father is a CEO of your house. So, whatever they are doing in their day to day life becomes, of course, way more meaningful in the days to come. And the third one, I mean, now there can be multiple books that I can talk about, but the recent one that I read was uh, the the myth of making money. Now, why I got so influenced about it is uh, we are all running a race wherein the only the only factor that comes to our head is how do we make more money? And it's certainly a myth in the market. There are people who have made lots and lots of money at the cost of probably losing so many things which they could have, cherished at the right time. So let's say there's a pair, there's a husband and a wife, and the husband only keeps running towards money, whereas he keeps losing his age, and they were not enjoying their life in present. They were only looking to enjoy the future of it, which never came, by the way. So the myth of making money is something which is around that. Of course, you keep making money, but you have to be very clear about what is needed and what is actually for your leisure thing. What is the need of the hour versus what is just kept in the bank to for the bankers to make some money out of it. So these were the three major things, and of course there are many, but uh, I don't really remember the name of the books. I keep the ideologies of the book with me, and I'm very poor in remembering the names of the books. So yeah, I couldn't do justice on that probably.
Okay. Uh, Fine, sir. Like we are running out of the time. Hope so. Like we wanted to discuss a lot of things still. Hope so. We're gonna have the session 2 of the same podcast maybe in the
Sure.
coming days. And thank you for giving this precious time for us in your busy schedule. So thank you for coming to Sri Siddhartha School of Engineering, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rajesh sir. It was a long due thing, to be very honest. And I was equally excited to be part of this podcast, as much as you are always. I don't know, this conversation for me was more like a chai tapri conversation that we
Yeah.
have had outside. So I think that also keeps it natural, and probably the audience will also feel the same. So I will be excited enough to join you on the second part of it. But till then, of course, to all the students, because this is the critical time, especially for the kids who are just going to graduate from now. Do not worry, guys. Do not worry. There are going to be hardships. There could have been a bad past. When I say bad past, um, your 10th, your 12th, your graduation percentage may not be up to the standard in which the market is running, but that's okay. That is not in your control anymore. So why to think about all of those things? Rather, let's focus on what we can do from today and from tomorrow and whatnot. You can be in touch with sir and me, and we'll be happy to guide you as and when it comes to us. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you. I just wanted to say this for audience, like whatever the show we are running. So this is just an extempore. Like we don't have any script or something like that. So just like that, like chai pe charcha. So like we have taken from our seniors. So the same thing we wanted to continue here. It's a casual talk. So it may be helpful for the student fraternity. They can pick up something out of this podcast and they can imbibe into their life. So hope so you enjoyed this podcast. We're gonna come back with one more guest and we will gonna make you understand what the real life is all about. So thank you for watching this show. Thank you so much.